Saturday morning to you. Welcome into Weekend Recharge. I'm LaRosa.
And I'm Julie Martin. Paul Goodlow is on assignment. This morning, Maria, a major Category 3 once again. So let's get you caught up on what now, Maria, of those record highs in Chicago. Could see another one today.
You know what I love too? The record warm low temperatures.
Lows, I know.
I mean, Minneapolis was in the mid-70s this morning. That's but 10 degrees above their average.
Not typical.
High temperature.
Not typical at all.
So it has been hot. Look at that. Legitimate heat wave, and it continues today in Chicago.
Absolutely. We're looking at, again, those 90s showing up, but not just today. Probably for the next several days. It's going to be a warm week, even though it is the officially fall now. We're looking at not exactly fall-like weather.
Yeah, so if you are visiting in through the Midwest, we're not quite there at officially fall. Not when you have 90s in the forecast today, and yes, likely seeing more records fall. The setup is there, Julie. You have an exaggerated weather pattern. You're going to get some exaggerated conditions. That dip in the west is helping to produce some snow.
Yeah, some snow in the higher elevations of the Rockies, and some of those temperatures in places like Wyoming are certainly well below average. But take a look at just the giant contrast here of the cold and the hot.
And it's a slow-moving front for now. So Minneapolis, you're into the mid and upper 80s, even on into tomorrow. It's not until Monday you start to see it dip to more reasonable late September averages, right? 59, though, in North Platte. You're still hitting close to 90 in Chicago and all the way into St. Louis.
I don't know, places like Chicago, you have pretty rough winters, so maybe just enjoy this little last hurrah while it's here. Omaha is another place where we could be looking at just temperatures anywhere from 15 to 20 degrees above average here. 91 here in Omaha, Nebraska.
And another point of evidence for the front coming through, those showers and thunderstorms with the cool down.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that front. Here's a look at it again. And with that, we could also see some showers and storms along that front and out ahead of it. It's not moving much at all, so kind of more stationary at this point, stretching all the way back into New Mexico. We are seeing some storms firing up there, and then just following on to the north into Minnesota, also looking at some storms as we get close to the Canadian border.
And with that front sort of slow to move, some of those shower chances will be a little bit slower to move as well. So Minneapolis, you've got, I don't want to call it a dry heat, right? Because it's not really, but
it's humid,
your
right?
showers and thunderstorms are to the north and west.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's what we can expect for today. Then again, we're looking at some snow in places like Wyoming. Temperatures certainly feeling chilly there, but the heat in the Midwest for sure. And this storm starting to approach some of the bigger cities from Fargo down into North Platte, back all the way down into the Texas Panhandle.
And keeping in mind too, Julie, this area here, even from Sunday to Monday, could be looking at record highs continuing.
Yeah, so that moist, hot air is certainly in place, and that's only going to add to the instability. So how much rain still to come? Really not a ton in terms of accumulation, maybe a couple of inches here or there. Some of those higher totals actually back down in Texas.
Yeah, and that goes through Wednesday, so a couple of days of this enough to really add up.
Crazy weather though, right? Some of you still seeing green, by the way.
But if you are already beginning to think about your fall foliage plans, let's start with typical times where we see the peak. And in the west, we peak pretty early here, late September, early October for a lot of the Rockies down into parts of the Southwest. We're already starting to get close to peak from the upper Midwest into New England. That is, again, late September. The orange color is more like mid-October, so all the way down to North Georgia, and then down to early November across parts of the Southeast into Texas and through the plains. So we are starting to get reports of a little bit of color, and perhaps you're seeing that right now. So the lighter shades of yellow, that's the patchy, the lighter orange near peak. So we're seeing patchy across New England, Maine, upstate New York nearing peak, as well as the upper Midwest. And we're already at peak in parts of the west, from Utah, Colorado, getting some reports in from Wyoming too. And then you can see also some patchy color in through the northwest. Focusing in on the northeast, Julie, I think everyone's ready to grab that pumpkin spice latte, get in the car, roll down the windows, but maybe it's more like AC if you're doing the leaf peeping.
It's not going to feel like pumpkin spice today. Places like Plymouth, New Hampshire, you should be feeling like fall right now, right? But your temperatures are not going to be feeling too much like fall. Look at this beautiful shot here, though. Some of the colors starting to turn just a little bit there for you. However, it is a long way to go, as we have temperatures that should be around 70. Well, you're going to be up maybe around 80 or so. 90 maybe. All right, take a look at the right now temperature. 65 in Boston, 72 nice here in New York City. Philly, you're at 75, 72 in DC, but our temperatures are just going to keep on climbing from there. So the Midwest is hot. The Northeast is also feeling some heat for sure. So taking a look at some of the areas that are going to be feeling it today, certainly up in Vermont, 85 in sunshine here in late September, 85 in New York City, 88 in Philadelphia, and 87 with a mix of sun and clouds in Washington. Washington. We also want to let you know about the rip current risk. Of course, moderate as we get up into New England, but high as we get closer down into the Delmarva. So this is all courtesy of Jose, which has still turned up some pretty rough waters out there in the Atlantic. So if you are heading out to the beaches because of the nice weather today, just be very careful and know that those waters are still going to be dangerous, Maria.
The GUT, the gut model, right? Where we kind of think, okay, what are we feeling here?
I like it.
But as Dr. Postel pointed out, there are going to be impacts regardless. And in terms of rip currents, it's the real one.
Yeah, we've got moderate rip currents in New England, and then as we get closer into Maryland, the Delmarva, down the Jersey Shore, that increases a little bit into the high category. So a lot of warm weather there in those parts, and a lot of people tempted to get out to the beaches. But, you know, we were just talking, this is a time of year when there are usually not lifeguards there on the beaches as well.
And it's inviting, too, because the weather's still warm. The water's still warm, but the crowds aren't there. But look at that risk all the way to the Keys. So you have this combination of Jose and Maria all sending wave action to the coast. That's why we still think there's that risk today and really for the next several days.
Yeah, and when we look at rip currents, of course, the big threat here, and I mean, really what you want to try to do is, first of all, just not panic in a rip current, which is very hard. And then, of course, you want to swim parallel to the shore. If you do get sucked out, try not to fight it.
Try not to fight it, and that's the biggest thing. Is that once you let it take out, you swim parallel, and then you can